Introducing the Mythorea region, a Pokémon Fakemon region based on Greek mythology. The region is created by Mythorea region and their info is linked in the description for you to go and check them out. The Pokemon professor for the region is called Professor Olive, who welcomes you to the region and sets you on your journey. Now let's choose our starter Pokemon. Minotaur, Grass type. He's very lazy and rarely interested in fighting, spending all the time lying in the grass resting, but will attack if disturbed. The leaves on his neck grow very fast if cut or broken, but he will get angry at anyone who touches them without permission. Based on a Minotaur. Bushitor, Grass type. He lives in solitude deep in the woods where no one could ever find him. There, he trains by fighting other Pokemon, often competing against fighting type Pokemon of a similar force. The leaves that cover the body are incredibly resistant and help suppress blows during combat. Forestor, Grass and Fighting type. Known as the Guardian of the Forest, they are solitary but friendly to other Pokemon, especially the weaker ones. They use their extraordinary strength to replant and move trees, bushes, logs, and rocks to turn forest patches into intricate natural mazes. Griffchick, Fire type. They only hatch when eggs reach very high temperatures. The behavior of these Pokemon is very cheerful and playful, resembling cats more than birds. They lack the ability to fly, but their hind legs are strong enough to make great leaps. Based on a Griffin. Griffhawk, Fire type. Griffhawk, unlike its pre-evolution, is a more serene and serious Pokemon. He has begun to develop his hunting skills, using his extraordinary vision to stalk his prey, typically rodents and insects, from high places. Once he sees an opportunity, he dives on his prey. Grifeagle, Fire and Flying type. They are very territorial Pokemon and usually live in pairs in warm and elevated places. Its sharp claws, coupled with the power of its wings and the strength of its hind legs, make Grifeagle an exceptional predator both on land and in the air. Hippofowl, Water type. This little Pokemon is very active and loves to jump and splash in little puddles of water or on the banks of rivers and beaches. Its horsehair and tail are a type of algae that only grows in Hippofowl and their evolution, based on the hippocampus. Hipporse, Water type. Hipporse has a semi-aquatic life as its body is in the process of adapting to marine life. He's often seen contemplating the sea, dreaming of swimming across the ocean with other Pokemon. Hippomagnus, Water and Dragon type. Considered the tyrants of the sea, Hippomagnus occupies large expanses of the ocean and makes them his empire, ruling by force over the rest of the Pokemon in that territory. They move, taking advantage of ocean currents by galloping through them at great speed, based on the Hippocampus and Charlemagne. Aeropig, Normal type. They are thought to be related to the Lechonks of Paldea, but Aeropigs are much more feral. They're very elusive but gain confidence quickly if there's food in between, being quite popular with novice trainers despite their stubborn nature. Based on a wild boar. Bomanto, Normal type. Bomantos, unlike their pre-evolution, can be very aggressive and will use their sharp fangs to defend themselves or their piglets from both predators and humans. They are always looking for something to eat, approaching villages and cities, endangering the inhabitants. Pidfox, Dark type. These Pokemon are highly elusive and rarely seen by humans. Their evasive skills are exceptional, and despite the numerous predators that attempt to hunt them, they are usually able to escape without complications. Based on the Tumesian fox. Zoroartium, Dark type. A popular myth in Mythorea discovered by Professor Olive recounts that once there was a Zoroartium that was impossible to catch and which terrified the villagers, slowly destroying their livestock. Galalape, Normal type. It is said that this Pokemon was the result of the domestication of Pidfox millennia ago, and that over time, thanks to selective breeding, emerged this new species of Pokemon, specializing in hunting. They're extremely energetic and playful Pokemon, constantly carrying objects to their trainers to throw. Based on Laylaps. Hunthound, Normal type. These Pokemon are only matched by Zoroartium in speed. They're exceptional hunters and they are said to always catch their prey. They are very loyal to their trainers but a little shy with strangers. Harpy, Flying type. This little Pokemon is very curious and active with a natural instinct to explore its surroundings. His little wings are not developed enough to fly, so he moves by leaps, thus strengthening his legs. Based on Harpies. Harpkid, Flying type. Harpkid has wings more developed than his pre-evolution, and his legs have become stronger over time, plus his claws are now much stronger. Harpkiria, Flying and Fighting type. These Pokemon dominate the skies of the region. They are capable of lifting 5 times their weight, creating air currents to lift themselves. Its powerful claws are extremely sharp, able to cut steel like it were paper. Based on Harpies and Valkyries. Frostpark, Electric and Ice type. Frostparks are more popular as pets than Pokemon to battle because of their cuteness. Still, they are very cold to touch and petting them can cause cramps. Based on a Stoat and Pika clones. Frostvolt, Electric and Ice type. Frostvolts are able to store far more electricity than its pre-evolution, thanks to the power of a Thunderstone. Its tail has a tip of ice capable of freezing at the slightest contact, so it uses it to defend itself from predators. Electricical, electric and ice type. The power of the Ice Stone has turned the icicle of its tail into a hyper-sharp ice sword, capable of not only freezing but also paralyzing. Their fur absorbs electricity and cold equally, allowing it to store energy it uses to power its attacks. Larvant, bug type. Larvant does nothing but wait still for someone to feed him. It's an incredibly weak Pokemon that depends entirely on the protection of its colony, based on ant larvae. Pupant, bug type. After eating enough, Larvant evolves into Pupant, creating a hard core in which to begin the process of metamorphosis. In this state, it does not move or feed, as it has the necessary nutrients from when it was a Larvant. It has a 4-way split evolution and is based on ant pupa. Workant, bug and normal type. Workants form large colonies that end up having thousands of individuals. Despite their small size, they can lift 100 times their weight. Their clamps are quite strong, capable of cutting wood smoothly, based on worker ants. Queen ant, bug and psychic type. There's only one queen ant per colony, and it's the only one that lays the eggs that will become work ants. She uses psychic waves to command the entire colony, being able to send specific orders to various work ants at once, based on the queen ant. King ant, bug and flying type. King ant leads the army of the colony commanded by the queen. Their versatility in combat, coupled with their speed, make them a formidable opponent to other Pokemon. However, they are lazy Pokemon who prefer to stay in the anthill doing nothing, based on a drone ant. Troy ant, bug and fighting type. The Troy ants battle each other to see who is the strongest so they can climb the ranks. Only the strongest and best trained Troy ants become the royal guards of Queen Ant, based on soldier ants and soldiers of Troy. Lilfawn, fairy type. This Pokemon's horns always grow asymmetrically, and when they reach a certain point they fall off. The Lilfawns use these horns to create flutes with which they spend all day improvising happy melodies that attract other Pokemon, based on Pan, the god of the wild. Bipofawn, fairy and dark type. It has both a good form and an evil form. Bipofawns are repudiated by most humans because of their sinister nature. Despite their kind appearance, they usually play melodies with the flute they build collecting the fallen horns of Lilfawn. Ghost Pup, ghost and normal type. Professor Olive theorizes that ghost pups and their evolutions have a common ancestor with the Pyro of Kalos, but that over time and ecosystem changes, they evolved into today's ghost pups. This has a 3-way split evolution and is based on the Nemean lion. Nimaleona, ghost and normal type. They are the body of the herd. They take care of the ghost pups and support the male during the hunts. If their alpha isn't strong enough, they try to hide a ghost pup so it can evolve and dethrone it. Nimaleon, dominant form, ghost and normal type. They are the leaders of the pack. When hunting, the females surround the prey so the male can confront it. They are very territorial and will attack any intruder that threatens their herd. Nimaleon, exiled form, ghost and normal type. After being exiled as ghost pup and moving away from the pack, the exiled Nimaleon have adapted to hunt alone. Sometimes multiple exiled Nimaleon band together to take down strong prey, but they fight each other as fast as they take it down. Serastag, normal and steel type. Serastags are extremely evasive and flee at the slightest sound. Poachers hunt them for their horns and hooves, which can reach high prices in the black market, based on the Serenian hind. Deerinia, normal and steel type. Deerinia's antlers are made of solid gold and their hooves are bronze. For this reason, Deerinia are hunted by poachers in order to sell their pieces as trophies to collectors. They're very elusive Pokemon who've learned to defend themselves, charging with razor-sharp horns. Lilil, water type. This tiny Pokemon is usually found in the region's rivers, grouping itself into banks of dozens of individuals. Despite his weak appearance, he's always alert and ready to fight, because if a Lilil has trouble, the rest of his companions will try to rescue him, based on a moray eel. Boreal, water type. Boreals generally live solitary, huddled up to their den where they patiently wait for prey to pass close enough to strike by surprise. At times, several Boreals can share the same cave, allowing them to confront other predators and hunt larger prey. Dodoxic, poison and steel type. Dodoxic are only able to digest food poisoned by their toxic gas, so they fly over fields leaving behind a toxic cloud. Its feathers are made of a metal capable of resisting any poison, and thanks to its beak is able to filter and breathe toxic gas without a problem, based on dodos and plague doctors. Plague Stimph, poisoned and steel type. Plague Stimph is able to produce a toxic gas from the poison food it feeds on. This gas expels through special valves in its wings, which also serve as propellers, making it easier to fly despite its weight, based on Stymphalian birds. Apprentor, fighting type. Apprentor are very active and love to spend the day challenging and pranking other people and Pokemon. It's common to see them in small groups led by one Fightor, their evolution, although sometimes several of these groups come together in a large herd led by Centaurea, its final evolution, based on a centaur. Fightor, fighting type. The Fightor have a fighting spirit far more developed than its pre-evolution. They spend most of their time strengthening their bodies and looking for other groups led by other Phytaur to measure their strength. If a Phytaur meets a Titanite, they'll fight to the death. Centaurea, fighting type. Although usually solitary Pokemon, some Centaurea join in large packs leading several Apprentiors and Phytaurs, teaching them the art of war. Their enmity with Titanops is terrible, occasionally staging attacks on their groups out of pure hatred, even if that means the death of the Apprentiors in charge. Cyclopi, fighting type. The Cyclopis live in groups along with their evolutions. Such groups can reach dozens of individuals led by the strongest Titanops. They usually spend the day doing tricks and hitting things with their stick, which they choose carefully, although it's common for them to break from use. Based on a Cyclops. Titani, fighting type. Titanis, unlike their pre-evolution, spend time training and polishing their skill with their stick, being taught by the strongest Titanops in the group. Sometimes several Titanis team up and look for groups of Apprentior and Phytaurs with whom they fight until there is only one group standing. Titanops, fighting type. Titanops are battle-hardened Pokemon, charged with caring and training the Titanis and Cyclopis to prepare them for battle against the Centaurea and their offspring. Within these groups, there is a hostile and violent atmosphere. Dynogma, rock and fire type. Dynogma's tongue can reach 5,000 degrees, thus being able to melt the rocks and Pokemon from which it feeds and extracts energy. Today it is possible to revive these Pokemon thanks to the DNA preserved in the hook claw fossil, based on a Spinosaurus. Spinogma, rock and fire type. Spinogma is believed to have used its elongated claws to pluck rock pieces to feed. It is believed that depending on the quality of minerals consumed, the flame in its back burns more intensely. Raptone, rock and flying type. These Pokemon are the ancestors of today's bird Pokemon. They lived in herds, synchronizing and developing hunting strategies thanks to their great intelligence. Today, it's possible to revive these Pokemon thanks to the DNA preserved in the sharp talon fossil, based on a Velociraptor. Raptorok, rock and flying type. Raptorok was an extraordinary hunter who lived 75 million years ago. He has great intelligence, being able to make well-organized group attacks. Still, Raptorok's incredible speed coupled with its sharpest claws make him a formidable predator, even in solitude. Stonkleos, rock and water type. Stonkleos, despite their cheerful appearance, are voracious predators capable of splitting in two any Pokemon that fits between their jaws. Today it is possible to revive these Pokemon thanks to the DNA preserved in the hard tooth fossil, based on a Dunkleosteus. Rockleosteus, rock and water type. Rockleosteus are one of the most feared predators in the entire ocean, and are estimated to have gone extinct more than 360 million years ago. His head, neck, and jaws are covered in hyper-resistant armor, allowing him to shred any Pokemon he comes across, and endure tremendous blows without any damage. Mythorean Timber, fighting type. Timber's muscles from Mythorea aren't as developed as Unova's, so he uses ropes to compress his muscles, helping him concentrate his body's strength. Like its Unova's relative, he likes to load wooden beams and is often found helping in human construction. Mythorean Girder, fighting and rock type. The hair on the head of the Girders from Mythorea are made of marble, although there is no scientific explanation for this. Unlike his Unova cousins, Girder of Mythorea strengthen their body by carrying a large marble pillar. Mythorean Conkeldurr, fighting and rock type. The Conkeldurr of Mythorea are much smarter than those of Unova, being used as architects in construction. In addition, they have a refined taste in sculpture, and you can see them carving figures out of large marble blocks. Nympholotia, grass and water type. Nympholotias remain afloat in lakes and ponds, pretending to be an immature lotus flower, leaving only their head out of the water, thus trying to go unnoticed by the little fawn who try to feed on them, based on a nymph and a lotus flower. Nymphobloom, grass and water type. The Nymphobloom take good care of the flower on their head and try to make it bloom as soon as possible. It's common to see them in small groups grooming each other. Nympholotus, grass and water type. These Pokemon are admired for their beauty and the sweet scent of their flower. They are able to move underwater as if they were walking on land, but they don't know how to swim. Serraden, water and fairy type. Serradens are very curious and love to peek at the sea's surface to observe humans and other terrestrial Pokemon, but they are very shy and never come in contact with other species, quickly diving if spotted by them. Based on sirens. Mermaiden, water and fairy type. After evolving, Mermaiden loses its shyness and appears before other Pokemon and humans to admire its beauty, letting out giggles and flirty looks, and then uses its tail to splash her victims in the face, returning to the depths between laughter. Mermaidie, water and fairy type. Mermaidie swims along the shores in search of humans to cuddle, singing pleasant melodies with her sweet voice to lure them into the water, where she seduces them and after playing with them, slip to the bottom of the sea. Mythorean Dwebble, bug and rock type. Due to the high concentration of ruins and archaeological sites of an ancient civilization that inhabited Mythorea, these Pokemon use ancient shell-like vessels, which, as incredible as it may seem, are highly resistant. Mythorean Crustle, bug and rock type. The The crustal with the largest temple is believed to be the dominant one of the group, and it's common to see disputes between them over the largest temple, based on the pantheon. Crustolympus, bug and rock type. Only the oldest Mythorean crustal is said to evolve into Crustolympus. These Pokemon are gentle giants, as their lofty defenses allow them to resist attacks without receiving barely any damage. They will become enraged if a human or Pokemon tries to enter the temple perched atop its shell, based on Mount Olympus. Toxicor, poison and dark type. This Pokemon has been created through hybridization and genetic engineering in a quest to create it being powerful enough to challenge the gods by order of the leader of a mysterious organization, based on a Manticore. Mantiscorp, poison and dark type. Mantiscorp is said to be evil personified. Their front legs are capable of storing powerful poison that it injects with its scratches, although the greatest danger is its sting, which is fatal. Mantitheria, poison and dark type. Mantitheria is the culmination of selective hybridization and genetic engineering, aiming to obtain a powerful and lethal being. Its wings, though small, are strong enough to allow it to fly, plunging from the air to strike by surprise. Griturt, ground type. Griturt usually live in dry and arid areas, where he accumulates different layers of mud, sand and clay to harden his shell, which he uses to defend himself. In ancient times, Griturt shells were used to make shields and armor. Based on a Greek tortoise, it has a split evolution based on whether it is leveled up on land or on water. Terracotoise, ground and rock type. Terracotoise is a solitary Pokemon that likes to wander arid areas in search of mineral-rich shells with which to enforce its own shell, made of terracotta-like material. Sea Turtle, ground and water type. When a Griturt evolves in water, its body adapts to the environment, developing fins and a smooth, polished but highly resistant shell, capable of repelling special strikes with ease, based on a sea turtle. Mythorean Diplin, poison and dragon type. The apple venom in which it lives emits a very sweet scent, which allows it to attract other Pokemon. It is said that if you stare at a Diplin in the eyes, you start to feel chills and become paralyzed. Applelisk, poison and dragon type. Applelisk tend to remain inert in the tops of apple trees, dropping the tail which has an apple lure that emits a sweet scent, in order to lure other Pokemon to petrify and feed on them, based on a basilisk. Beetlefus, bug and ground type. Beetlefus has an obsession with rolling a large heavy ball of solid soil uphill. It is common to see it fail the attempt, having to repeat the process. They sometimes accidentally crush other small Pokemon with their ball, getting trapped in it, based on a dung beetle and Sisyphus. Escaratlus, bug and ground type. Tired of his ball rolling down, and thanks to the unbreakable mentality and physical strength Beetlefus develops throughout his life, he reaches a point where he decides to lift the heavy ball high and carry it on his shoulders, thus evolving into Escaratlus. Based on a Rhino Beetle and Atlas. Icarax, normal and flying type. Icarax has an intense desire to fly, so he's developed the ability to do so thanks to the artificial wings he is able to build, making use of a sticky substance that secretes from his head and hardens over time, as well as feathers from various flying type Pokemon. Based on Icarus. Fanticarus, ghost and flying type. When an Icarax soars very high on a very sunny day, the wax on its wings melt, causing it to lose control and plunge from the heights, dying tragically. However, the fervent desire to fly causes his spirit to abandon the lifeless body of Icarax, being able to fly freely now as Fanticarus. Statling, electric and flying type. Statling produces wool capable of storing a large amount of static electricity. When the wool overcharges, it darkens like a storm charged with electricity, allowing it to use that energy to power up electrical strikes, based on a sheep and a storm cloud. Capratic, electric and flying type. As it evolves, Capratic is able to produce much more wool, which in turn allows it to store much more static electricity, being able to use it to levitate with much more control than its pre-evolution. Electronimbus, electric and flying type. Electronimbus's wool develops in the form of wings, giving it complete control when levitating, allowing it to move with the same freedom as if it would fly. When Electronimbus enters a charged state, the electrical charge in its wool is equivalent to that of an electrical storm. Mythorean Tauros, normal and ice type. Tauros of Mythorea have become accustomed to the cold weather of the region's snowy mountains, developing thicker, denser fur that protects them from the cold and makes them appear larger in front of their predators, mainly packs of Nemelion. Kratoros, normal and ice type. Tauros who crown themselves as leader of the herd and are able to withstand extreme cold temperatures evolve into Kratoros. These imposing Pokemon, though generally tame, will protect their flock from any danger using their strong icy horns, based on the Cretan bull. Jinxodite, psychic and fairy type. When a Smoochum reads a fashion magazine, it's able to evolve into Jinxodite, revealing all of its hidden beauty. Jinxodite is considered one of the most beautiful Pokemon out there. It hides a cruel and arrogant nature, which despises most humans and Pokemon for its appearance, especially Jinx. Based on Jinx and Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty. Mythorean Tinkertink, fire and steel type. Similar to its variant in Paldea, Tinkaton collects middle materials to create its hammer, during a process similar to what is done in the art of forging, using its embers to grind and join different materials. Mythorean Tinkertuff, Fire and Steel type. Tinkertuff is able to master his hammer technique, not only in forging, but being able to use more complex materials to improve his hammer, such as pieces of metal from other steel type Pokemon. Mythorean Tinkaton, Fire and Steel type. Tinkaton is able to perfectly control his hammer, which is able to combine with his fiery strikes, imbuing it with flames to carry out devastating strikes. Just like its pre-evolutions, Tinkaton of Mythorea have an innate taste for forging, always looking for new materials for his hammer. Lycub, Dark type. A legend tells of a boy in a village lying constantly saying that there is dangerous Pokemon approaching. The gods punished him by turning him into the Pokemon he described. This Pokemon howls at the moon every night, creating the popular belief that those howls are pleased to the gods to turn him into his human form again. Based on Lycaon. Lycanwolf, Dark type. Lycanwolf is a sinister Pokemon that always roams in the shadows. At nights, his vision is exceptional, being able to see with total clarity. When the moon rises, it is capable of transforming into its full moon form, becoming a ruthless predator with enhanced strength and speed. Lovekiss, Water and Fairy type. Lovekiss is the mature form of a love disc. The physical appearance of male and female Lovekiss varies. It is believed that these changes allow each individual to attract their partner, with whom they will bond for life. For this reason, it is common to see Lovekiss in couples. Loverose, Water and Fairy type. When a Lovekiss couple spends a lot of time together, they both experience physical changes that allow them to act together as if they were a bow and arrow, evolving into Loveros. After being released, the male always swims quickly next to the female again. Based on Eros, the Greek god of love. Chillinks, Psychic and Ice type. Chillinks are Pokemon with excellent vision, but what makes them special is their ability to analyze, being able to know with just a glance the height, weight, strength, and even feelings of anyone or Pokemon they look at, based on the Lynx. Cryolinks, Psychic and Ice type. Cryolinks takes its analytical ability to the next level, being able to psychoanalyze those it looks at with its penetrating gaze, knowing even their deepest thoughts. Mythorean Honedge, Ghost and Steel type. Legend has it that the Honedge of Mythorea are spirits of warriors who lost their lives in the ancient war that plagued the region thousands of years ago, possessing the weapons that took their lives. Mythorean Doublade, Ghost and Steel type. As it evolved, the Honedge doubles, now consisting of 2 swords, plus a small shield on the back. Their frantic attacks, combining both attack and defense, are reminiscent of the fighting style of the most skilled warriors of an ancient civilization. Mythorean Aegislash, Ghost and Steel type. The Aegislash have the ability to know if a person is worthy of being king. Aegislash from Mythorea are believed to take the form of royal swords used by the kings of ancient civilizations of warriors. Druisley, Grass and Normal type. Druisley usually coexist with their siblings, as they are usually born in litters of 2 or 3 bears, and do not separate from their mother until they evolve. They're curious Pokemon who love exploring the woods, based on a druid and a grizzly bear. Grizzeward, Grass and Psychic type. Upon evolving, Grizzeward separates from his family to embark on a journey in order to discover the secrets of nature. His stick allows him to feel every leaf sway in the wind, every Pokemon roam the forest floor, every dewdrop glide down every blade of grass, all within a 500 meter radius. Druid Arctos, Grass and Psychic type. Druid Arctos have mastered his extrasensory power, and now he's able to sense entire acres of forest thanks to his stick and the blade on his forehead, which grants him psychic powers. Mythorean Slackoth, Normal and Fighting type. The Slackoths of Mythorea have had to overcome their enormous laziness to survive the dangerous and extreme environment in which they live. This has awakened dormant genes that cause them to unleash their most primitive side. Mythorean Vigoroth, Normal and Fighting type. The Vigoroths from Mythorea are very aggressive, and they gather in groups to attack and defend themselves from the opponents. In the ecosystem they live in, they are both prey and predators. Slackong, Normal and Fighting type. Slackong is a different Pokemon from Slacking and not original form. Latent genes are theorized to have activated in their pre-evolutions. Because of the extreme environment they live in, it is a primal being with devastating power, based on King Kong. Mythorean Larvitar, Rock and Dragon type. Mythorean Larvitar are only found in the deepest caves of the region, where it is believed to have an ecosystem of its own. Down there, they mingle with other Pokemon in an extreme environment where they must fight for survival, strengthening themselves in battle from the moment they are born. Mythorean Pupitar, Rock and Dragon type. After eating enough materials loaded with mysterious energy, Pupitar hibernate while they carry out a metamorphosis, absorbing and storing large amounts of energy. Tyrazilla, Rock and Dragon type. Professor Olive believes that this is the primitive form of Tyranitar, filled with mysterious power. The Tyrazillas have an incredible rivalry with Hydragora, the next Pokemon, and if these 2 Pokemon meet, they will fight to the death, destroying everything in their stride. Based on Godzilla. Gidralisk, Electric and Dragon type. Gidrilisk always seem to be angry and looking for an opponent. Their sole aim is to become stronger to evolve, with the aim of gaining more power and destroying everything in its path. Based on King Ghidorah. Lernagora, Electric and Dragon type. Lernagora crash into everything that it passes, destroying everything in their stride. Their two heads take turns performing combinations of devastating electrical strikes, and there are few opponents able to cope with him. Hydragora, Electric and Dragon type. Hydragora is considered the apex Pokemon, as it dominates wherever it goes, making it one of the most dangerous Pokemon in the entire region. Their three heads communicate and compete perfectly, despite being completely independent. Myths say that if one of their heads is cut off, it will regrow, increasing in strength and anger. Introducing the Hybrid Knot, the gimmick of the Mythorea region. You can use the Hybrid Knot when breeding particular Pokemon to create a new hybrid Pokemon with the egg that is produced. These Pokemon are species that cannot be obtained in the wild, as human intervention is required to create them. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Hunthound and Zoroarteum can produce Gallopid, the normal and dark type. It evolves into Lemurcios. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Centauria and Titanops can produce Cyclotor, the fighting type. It evolves into Phytitan and then into Centititan. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Spinogma and Crocodile can produce Magmadile, the fire and dark type. It evolves into Krukonogma. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Raptorok and Staraptor can produce Rapsley, the rock and flying type. It evolves into Staroctor. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Dunkleosteus and Basculegion can produce Stonkalin, the water and rock type. It evolves into Rockleolegion. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Mermaidy and Quillfish can produce Ceraquil, the water and poison type. It evolves into Myrmequil and then into Quillmaidy. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Mermaidy and Seaking can produce Cyraden, the water and fairy type. It evolves into Myrmidine and then into Myrmidle. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Terracotoise and Torkoal can produce Turcotoise, the fire and ground type. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Moreel and Barbaracle can produce Byleel, the water and rock type. It evolves into Moralgum. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Forestor and Cratoris can produce Icysaur, the normal and ice type. It evolves into Harrietaur, the fighting and ice type, and then into Frostor. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Grifeagle and Luxray can produce Grifflinx, the fire and electric type. It evolves into Griffluxio and then into Griffluxray. Using the Hybrid Knot while breeding Hippomagnus and Dragalge can produce Kelpol, the poison and water type. It evolves into Kelpos and then into Kelpomagnus. There are 6 legendary Pokemon in the region, 3 Guardians and 3 Master Weapon Wielders. The first Guardian is Gorgoneus, the poison and psychic type. Gorgoneus is a legendary Pokemon of immense power, created by an ancient Mythorean deity to guard the Infernal Temple, a place where, according to the oldest myths, lies a relic of great power, capable of summoning its creator. This relic is called the Ancient Bident. Gorgoneus is feared for his ability to petrify his opponents, as a direct look at any of his eyes, including those on the heads of his hair, can cause this condition. Based on Medusa. Krakeneus, water and dark type. Krakeneus guards the Temple of the Sea, where myths say houses an ancient relic of great power that can summon its creator. This relic is called the Ancient Trident. Krakeneus wields tremendous strength in its tentacles, capable of generating ocean currents with a simple movement. It is highly intelligent and cunning, possessing the ability to communicate with other sea Pokemon to help it defend the Temple of the Sea. Based on the Kraken. Pegaseus, flying type. Pegaseus guards the Temple of the Skies, where myths say houses an ancient relic of great power that can summon its creator. This relic is called the Ancient Thunderbolt. Pegaseus is capable of creating and controlling air currents with which it gallops through the skies, being able to generate with them tornadoes and hurricanes with devastating power. Based on a Pegasus. The first Master Weapon Wielder legendary Pokemon is Infernides, the fire and ghost type. Infernides emerged from the establishment of life and death in the origin of the world. He masters an alternate plane known by humans as the Underworld. There, Infernides acts as a guardian so that the souls of those who perish can have a safe place to stay for eternity. He is also an executioner, who punishes the souls of those who, in life, acted unjustly, consuming their souls in infernal flames. Based on Cerberus and Hades, the god of the Underworld. Sharkydon, water and ground type. Sharkydon emerged during the fierce battles between Groudon and Kyogre when they terraformed the world. Born from the violence that both Pokemon exercised on each other, with Sharkydon being the god of natural disasters. It can generate earthquakes, tidal waves, torrential rains, and all kinds of disasters occurring around the world, and is believed to embody violence and power itself. Sharkydon is able to graze both water and land, swimming through any of these elements effortlessly. Based on sharks and Poseidon. Zeus Ray, electric and flying type. A popular myth of the region is that Zeus Ray is the brother of Arceus and together created the world and the Pokemon that inhabit it, but that during the long process, disputes between the two gods intensified until they came to fight for the domination of the universe. Arceus defeated his brother and confined him in a physical body containing his power and sending him to Earth, where Zeusray was proclaimed the king of the legendary Pokemon, as he has been involved in the creation and birth of all of them, based on Zeus. There are 3 mythical Pokemon in the region. The first is Cloteris, the psychic and fairy type. The threads born from the stomach of Cloteris represent the life of some Pokemon or human to whom they are bound, representing its soul. The threads manipulating these Pokemon are made of ethereal energy and can only be manipulated by them. Based on Clotus, the youngest of the Moiras who shape the destiny of everyone in Greek mythology. Laquiras, psychic and normal type. When Cloteris entrusts a thread to Laquiras, she is responsible for measuring its length, determining how long the life of the being bound to it will last. Written on the thread are the milestones, achievements, and experiences that they will experience over their lifetime. Based on Laquesis, the middle-aged of the Moiras. Atriras, psychic and ghost type. Atriras is in charge of cutting the thread created by Cloteris and measured by Laquiras, bringing to an end the life of the one to whom this thread is tied. Despite looking like an evil act, Atriras always cuts the thread with delicacy and a mixture of happiness and sadness in their heart. Based on Atropos, the oldest of the Moiras. Thanks for watching this video guys, and if you've enjoyed the full Dex video, then why not check out some of my other full Pokedex region videos too.